Lotus Heir. Episode 1. The secret hidden in his father's last letter. Cold rain covered the streets of Seoul as black umbrellas surrounded an elegant cemetery. Among the mourners stood a young African man whose calm expression hid a heart full of grief. His name was Kofi Mensah. At just 23 years old, he had traveled from Ghana after receiving devastating news. His father, a respected international businessman, had died unexpectedly. Kofi believed he had come to say goodbye to the only parent he had left. He couldn't have been more wrong. As the final prayer ended, the guests slowly walked away. One elderly gentleman remained behind. His posture was straight despite his age, and his eyes carried the weight of countless untold stories. He approached Kofi and quietly handed him a sealed black envelope. "Your father spent his entire life protecting you," the old man said. "Whatever happens next, remember that every choice has a price." Before Kofi could ask what he meant, the roar of powerful engines shattered the silence. Several luxury SUVs raced through the cemetery gates. Men dressed in expensive black suits stepped out with disciplined precision. Their leader removed his gloves and smiled. "So, the heir has finally arrived." Within seconds, chaos erupted. The old man pushed Kofi behind a large stone monument just as gunfire echoed across the cemetery. The mourners fled in panic while bodyguards rushed to defend the young stranger. A single bullet struck the old man. As he collapsed, he grabbed Kofi's hand with surprising strength. "Never let Chairman Beck find what's inside." His voice faded forever. With trembling hands, Kofi opened the envelope. Inside was a small black key and a handwritten letter. "My son, if this letter has reached you, it means I could no longer protect you. Everything you believed about my life was only half the truth. I wasn't just a businessman. I built an organization powerful enough to influence governments and industries across continents. I kept you away because I wanted you to have a normal life. Now that choice belongs to you. Follow your conscience, not my mistakes." At that moment, Kofi realized his life would never be ordinary again. Miles away, inside a busy newsroom, investigative journalist Yoon Seo-jin stared at an old photograph connecting Kofi's father to the mysterious Black Lotus organization. She had spent years chasing the truth, never expecting the final piece of the puzzle to arrive in Seoul that very morning. Their paths were destined to cross. Neither of them knew that meeting each other would change both their lives forever. Across the city, inside the top floor of a towering skyscraper, Chairman Beck watched the cemetery attack through hidden surveillance cameras. He slowly smiled. "So the boy survived. Interesting. Bring him to me. Alive." Outside, Kofi tightened his grip on the black key. He had come to bury his father. Instead, he had inherited a war. But deep inside, he made a silent promise. He would uncover the truth, protect the innocent, and ensure that whatever empire his father had left behind would never again be built on fear. If this story kept you wondering what the black key unlocks, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. The next chapter reveals the hidden vault, a dangerous alliance, and the first meeting between Kofi and Seo-jin, a meeting that could either save them both or destroy everything. Chapter 2. The Vault Beneath the City. Kofi barely escaped the cemetery. The sound of gunfire still echoed in his mind as Ji-hoon Kang, one of the few bodyguards who had survived the ambush, drove through the rain-soaked streets of Seoul. Neither of them spoke. Kofi couldn't stop staring at the small black key resting in his palm. "What does it open?" he finally asked. Ji-hoon kept his eyes on the road. "I've protected your father for 12 years, he replied. "Even I was never allowed to know." Moments later, a black SUV appeared in the rearview mirror. Then another. "They found us," Ji-hoon said. Without warning, he swerved into a narrow alley. The tires screamed against the wet pavement as the pursuing vehicles raced past the entrance. For now, they had escaped. Hours later, Ji-hoon led Kofi into an abandoned subway station that had been closed for decades. At first glance, it looked forgotten. But hidden beneath a rusted maintenance door was a steel elevator. Kofi inserted the black key. Nothing happened. Then he noticed tiny symbols engraved around the keyhole. His father's birthday. He entered the numbers. The elevator came alive. Slowly, it descended deep beneath Seoul. When the doors opened, Kofi froze. It wasn't a bunker. It was an underground command center unlike anything he had ever imagined. Walls of digital screens displayed shipping routes, financial markets, security cameras, and encrypted communications from around the world. In the center of the room stood a circular table. As Kofi approached, a projector activated automatically. His father's image appeared. Kofi, if you're seeing this, then I failed to keep you safe. The recording paused for a moment, almost as if his father were gathering the strength to continue. The Black Lotus was never created to become a criminal empire. It began as a secret network protecting innocent families from corrupt officials and violent syndicates. But power changes people. Some of my closest allies betrayed our mission. If Chairman Beck gains control of this vault, thousands of innocent lives will be at risk. You must decide whether to destroy everything or rebuild it. The screen went dark. Silence filled the room. Kofi realized the greatest inheritance his father had left him wasn't money. It was responsibility. Across the city, journalist Yoon Seo-jin received an anonymous package. Inside was a flash drive. It contained only one sentence. The heir is not your enemy. Before she could investigate further, every file on her computer vanished. Someone had hacked her system. At the bottom of the screen, a single message appeared. Stop looking for Black Lotus. She looked around her empty office. Someone was watching. Meanwhile, Chairman Beck grew impatient. He slammed his fist onto a marble table. The vault has been opened. Find the boy before sunrise. One of his commanders stepped forward. We've searched everywhere. Beck smiled coldly. You've searched where he would hide. I know where his father taught him to think. Back inside the underground vault, Kofi discovered one final compartment. Inside rested an old leather notebook. On the first page was a handwritten message. Trust no one. He turned the page. His heart stopped. The second page contained a list of every trusted member of the Black Lotus. One name had been circled in red. Ji-hoon Kang. Kofi slowly looked up. Ji-hoon was standing only a few feet away. For a brief moment, neither of them spoke. Then Ji-hoon's phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen and quietly slipped it back into his pocket. Kofi had no idea whether the man standing beside him was his greatest protector, or the betrayal his father had tried to warn him about. If you think Ji-hoon is truly loyal, let me know in the comments. But if you believe he's hiding something, type betrayal below and tell me why. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because Chapter 3 reveals who sent the anonymous message to Seo-jin and the shocking truth about Kofi's father that no one saw coming. Kofi slowly closed the leather notebook. His father's final warning echoed in his mind. Trust no one. He looked around the underground vault once more. Every screen, every document, and every hidden file reminded him that he had inherited far more than wealth. He had inherited impossible choices. Ji-hoon stood quietly nearby, waiting for Kofi to speak. After several moments of silence, Kofi took a deep breath. We're leaving, he said calmly. Ji-hoon nodded. Without another word, they stepped back into the elevator. As the heavy doors closed, neither of them noticed a tiny hidden camera tucked into the corner of the ceiling. Miles away, Chairman Beck watched the live feed from his private office. A slow smile spread across his face. So, you've found the vault. Now the real game begins. The monitor went black. Outside, the rain had finally stopped. For the first time since arriving in Seoul, Kofi looked up at the night sky. He knew there was no turning back. The truth about his father's past had only begun to unfold, and every step forward would bring new allies, new enemies, and sacrifices he never imagined. His journey had just begun. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next episode. In Chapter 3, Kofi takes his first step into his father's hidden world, while someone unexpectedly enters his life and changes his future forever. Who do you think Kofi can really trust? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your theories.